In this tutorial, we'll be talking about Live's built-in scale effect. Let's start by dropping in a scale effect. Now what I have here is just a very simple MIDI loop. I've got a C major scale right here and just a big arpeggio. I'm just going by thirds here. So basically when you first drop in this scale effect, if you drop it in just the effect without any of the presets, it doesn't actually do anything. This is very similar to the velocity effect in that this bottom row here represents the incoming message and this side row here represents the outgoing message. And this bottom row here represents the incoming MIDI note message, so these black lines represent the black keys and the white ones represent the white keys, so you'd have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then up here C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. In order to better illustrate what this effect actually is going to do to the outgoing MIDI note messages, I'm going to go ahead and use Sylenth here because Sylenth has a visible keyboard, and that way you'll be able to see exactly which note's being played. So let's give this a listen right now without any effects on it whatsoever. Okay, so as I said, the scale effect isn't actually doing anything at this point because it's just a straight line, so nothing's being modulated at all. So say I take this incoming C message and I change it to, well, we'll change it to an E message because this is the C incoming, and then if you look on the side here, this is the E outgoing. So now let's see what happens. This key should light up first, and then D, E, F. This is one of very few effects where I will definitely recommend sticking with the presets. You can do this two ways. You can use the hot swap and just hot swap between the different presets. The way I usually do this is just to drop the scale in, so go ahead and drop in a C major here. Now what this is going to do is, no matter what note is played by the MIDI instrument or by the MIDI loop, it's going to lock it into a C major. So if you look here, this black key is routed to the C, this black key is routed to the E, or the D, this black key right here is mounted to the F, and so forth. If you want to use this effect to modulate keys or to transpose to different keys, this effect can be used for that purpose, but that's not really where it shines. Where it shines is in its ability to lock in different scales for more like live playing, and you can also use it to create totally different sounds. For instance, if this bass knob here, what this does is it changes the bass where the input signals are started for, well, I'll just show you. You turn it to D, for instance, and it starts on a D down here, and it also starts on a D right here on the side. So let's play the original clip. And let's move this up to a D and see what it does to the sound. So clearly there's some sound design possibilities here. Let's try a minor harmonic, or a harmonic minor scale, and see what this does to it. Now, as I said, if you wanted to use this effect to transpose keys, it can definitely be used for that purpose. For instance, if you wanted to transpose this to the key of D, this is in semitones, so I'll increase it by 2 semitones. And now it's going to play back, and it's going to start on a D. So watch this white key here. This is an E. There's actually a much simpler effect that I'm going to touch on before this tutorial is over that can accomplish the same thing. This next button here is the fold button, and what this does is if a trigger note is more than 6 semitones apart from its original note, it'll fold that note. So I'm going to go ahead and set these all down to the bottom so we have a couple notes that are 6 semitones apart, and let's see what this sounds like without the fold button. And with fold, one of these lower notes is going to jump up an octave, so let's see. This last section here sets the lowest affected note, and then the range sets how many notes away from the lowest affected note are affected, very similar to the velocity effect. So for instance, if we look at this MIDI clip here, the lowest note is a C3. So what I'm going to do is set this to G3, and then I'm going to set it 12 semitones up, so G3 through G4 will be affected, and those will be the only affected notes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load a C harmonic minor scale. And like I said, I just want G3 through G4 to be affected, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to G3. You can use your arrow keys, it makes it a little bit easier sometimes. There's my G3, and I'm going to punch in 12 here, enter. Now let's see what kind of effect this has on this little MIDI clip. This last effect here that I'm going to show you is called the pitch effect, and it's a pretty simple effect. Like I mentioned earlier, there was an easier effect to modulate keys. This is that effect. All this knob does is any MIDI note that is received gets shifted by whatever semitones you set to. So if I set this to 4 semitones, it's still that C major MIDI clip. It's going to start on an E. So watch this note here. Simple enough, and the range and lowest knobs work exactly the same as they do in the scale. So whatever this lowest is set to, plus whatever this number is set to, is what notes are going to be affected by the effect.